Ladies and gentlemen, we can open the doors to the general public. Please open the doors.
Firefighters, you serve your communities in many ways. You train hard, you work hard. Some of you make firefighting your career, others volunteer your time. We need all U.S. firefighters, active or retired, career or volunteer, and from any specialty, to join the NFR and fight back against cancer. Join the tens of thousands of firefighters already registered at nfr.cdc.gov.
For nearly 150 years, our mission has remained the same: to train and inform those who serve. That mission lives on every day throughout the year, ensuring that our service to first responders matches their tireless dedication to us all. We inform, we connect, we advance. And once a year, it all comes together at the industry's most powerful gathering place, FDIC International, where training becomes hands-on, where content becomes conversations, where technology becomes real-world solutions, and where connections become community. One mission, year-round. This is the standard. And now, it doesn't stop when the conference ends. With fire engineering training, you get FDIC level instruction all year long. Assign it, track it, prove it. Turn FDIC lessons back to your department training. Because readiness isn't a slogan, it's repetition. Extend FDIC year-round. Request your demo today.
We lost 343 on 9/11, but we've lost over 326 since. By the anniversary this year, the number will have surpassed those who died on that day. It's time to climb in remembrance with 2,200 steps and 110 floors. Climb to honor those that we have lost, but also climb for yourself, because you are carrying on the legacy. You are still here doing the work. This is about overcoming obstacles. It's about managing adversity. And it's about hope. Hope for this generation. Your legs will burn. It'll be tough. But as I said the other day, those are the key ingredients to character. God bless those who have gone before us. God bless the fire service. And God bless this great country.
We are about to end our walk-in programming with a very special documentary. At this time, please take your seats and silence your phones. We'd like to thank the 9/11 Remembrance Committee members for their guidance and advice during the preparation of this event.
A.m. in Los Angeles and 8 a.m. here in New York, live from the CNN Financial News headquarters.
It is beautiful outside, perfect September day with lots of sunshine.
Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
Katie, I don't want to alarm anybody right now, but apparently there was an explosion of some kind here at the Pentagon.
The plane crash that has gone down in Somerset County is believed to be related to the other attacks on America.
One would have to assume that there is no chance that anybody could be found alive if you would just look at this crater down there.
We were faced with enormous challenges and grief and bereavement, and we overcame all of that. And we continued to fight fires. We fought fires on September 12, 2001. We fought fires on September 11, 2001. Firemen were able to function under those conditions and still think of their fellow man throughout the day, knowing that they were in grave danger. I was never so proud to be a fireman as I was that day.
We're used to tragedy, right? We're firefighters, we're fire officers. This is what we do. When someone picks up the phone and dials 911, they can't handle the situation in front of them. They leave that to us. And on this day, on that day, the whole world called on us. And we answered.
tens of thousands of tons of debris came down with such force, 110 stories. So the force that impacted the ground was just beyond tremendous. I said, there's almost zero voids. I said, the chances of anybody being alive here are small. My lieutenant and myself got up in the basket, and we were the first ones on top of the South Tower. And I was on a radio with the operator telling him, boom down, all right, okay, all right, lower me down, 5 more feet, 6 more feet, 8 more feet, like, okay, stop. Well, as I get out of the basket, you could see the heat generating out of the whole pile. At the time, there was a fireman at 10 and 10 that had binoculars, and he told me when we were going up there, there's a helmet, it's down about 20 feet, so I see the helmet. All right, so I crawl down, and it's upside down, and then I'd say about 18 inches or so from the helmet was a skull. And then next to the skull was, some vertebrae. And I went, oh my God, So well, I picked the helmet up and turned it around, and my heart stopped. It was a Rescue 3 helmet. So I went, oh man. That was my toughest.
When I would go down the bridge at night into the pit to rake and visit the firefighters and anyone who was there, as I was going down, it was like, how do I make sense out of this? And I came to understand that I was descending into hell and seeing the face of God on the people who were there in the recovery operation.
We got through it. The department got through it amazingly. The resilience of the department with help from all around the country. When you're from New York, you never think you're going to need any help from anywhere. And people came from all around the country to help us, and we needed it.
There's countless stories of firefighters and fire officers saying goodbye to each other in the lobby and then going to work. And there's nothing more brave than that.
I hear a woman yell, "Hey!" I'm telling you, it startled me so much that the only thing I could say was, "Hey, back," and one of us says, "I can't see you." And just this lady starts clapping her hands. Her name was Sheila Moody, and I talked to her this morning. It was one of the blessings that happened that day.
On that day, 9/11/01, we really saw the worst in people, but the following days after that, it brought out the best in humanity that, I wish we could get back to that point because we've gotten away from it.
It was like a movie set. It was surreal. There were buses on fire, mail trucks on fire. There were fire trucks on there upside down and burning. And the thing that I remember most is how quiet it was.
You could see the famous facade picture where, I don't know how many stories did it, 8, 10 stories of just a portion of the facade sticking out of the ground. Everything was smoldering. It was such a large area that you couldn't wrap your mind around it.
I ended up being the chauffeur of a South Bronx working truck company, and the next morning I was detailed downtown to another truck company where they lost the whole company. If I worked a day tour, they would say, "Hey, we're hopping on a train, we're going downtown. I have a friend that's working at the Trade Center. We can sneak in and help tonight. Do you want to go down with us?" Of course I did. Maybe we bucked a couple little rules and regulations. We got in the back door and we went to do our job looking for bodies and firefighters and civilians.
I mean, the bonds that we made and the bonds that we created there, working on the pile together, are inseparable. It's hard to put into words the feelings and the emotions that I have for those guys. The way that they stepped up in different roles, not only in the firehouse afterwards, but that day and those days and weeks that followed. 2 of our members lost their brothers. One of our members lost their father. It affected all of us deeply, but yet We were driven to the mission, which was to save lives and property. That's what we do. And while we were there, that was our focus, regardless of what else was to transpire.
My dad was a World War II bomber pilot and flew 65 missions in a B-26. When I got done, he said to me, "This is your war. This is your combat."
We were just looking for hope, hopefully we can get somebody. It's really hard to explain. It really is.
So you want to talk about resiliency. Look at families that lost their father in 9/11, and we have sons and daughters following their footsteps, walking in the firehouse and getting on those rigs and going out the door. They don't know what kind of danger they're going to run into. That's resiliency.
You lost your father, and then you make the decision to come on to the department, and so many of them did, and so many of them come up to the ranks, and they're captains and chiefs now. I don't know if I would have had that strength to do that.
I knew my father was working that day in Ladder Company 2. They responded. They were in the North Tower. Some officers and captains that were able to exit the building had seen him in certain floors. He was trying to gather his guys, and I think he told one lieutenant that they were on their way out. "I'll meet you in the street." He was just making sure he had all his guys.
I never shy away from it. I'm Pete Gansey's kid, and I'm proud of it. And my father earned that legacy on his job, and my job is to uphold that reputation. So I always try to maintain the dignity of his position, of who he was, of the things that he embodied, and I try to hold myself in that same light. And I know that a lot of the legacies whose fathers were killed on September 11th, we feel the same way.
It was tough for my mom at first. It was tough for her to see her son want to do what her husband did that took away so much from our family. But over time, she knew that this is where I was destined to be. Upholding the standard to who he was is the way that I kind of carry him with me throughout the job.
I carry his badge number, so that to me is a huge honor. When I go to work, I grab my gear, grab my helmet. It's the first thing I see when I first start work.
You know that there's your name, there's a lot of guys that recognize it. There's a lot of guys who are going to hold you to a standard which you're happy that they are, and I think it's always been a little bit of a competition, I guess, with yourself and with your family name to always maintain a standard, and you just hope that you're doing the best that my father would expect.
It's not only my reputation, it's my dad's reputation. It's the guys that have vouched for me. It's the guys that brought me up through this job. And it's not really about me. It's about everything that came before me that I want to do proud.
Hearing stories about my father, I still hear them. Some I wish I knew before that day, so I can have some ammunition. But mostly of just his compassion, his heroism, his work ethic. And he was always ready to perform. He was a good example.
Our sacrifice and the sacrifice of the 343 firefighters is something that should make you pause and think about what a wonderful country you live in. That the firefighters that protect you have proven over and over that they are willing to protect you with their own lives.
They always say, if you love the job's gonna love you back. 9/11 stabbed us in the hearts. Luckily for us, we put a patch on our hearts, and we're able to recover. And that's what firefighters do.
We can't forget. We don't want to forget. It's a part of who we are. Those people who were there and who operated and who were part of the rebuilding and the resilience, we can't forget. Sometimes I wish we could, but we owe it to the memory of those that we lost to just ensure that their memories get perpetuated.
We stand on the shoulders of giants on this job.
And the tradition is what drives me, because I know the standard that was set before us. And with everything that we do in life, our job is to uphold that standard. I always try to keep that in my mind. And, when we're drilling, training, at an operation, it's one of those things where it's like, well, there's, we're standing in some pretty big shoes right now.
I want people to remember the sacrifices of not only the firefighters, the police officers, the EMTs and paramedics that lost their lives that day, but almost 3,000 civilians that were killed, and all they did that day was go to work.
I think they can knock us down, but they can't stop us from continuing to be the best fire department in the world.
We go in to save people. We're doing that. We're going in, whether you like it or not. And that's our job, and that's what we're going to do. And it should never change.
Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. Our program is about to begin. As a courtesy to your speakers and to your fellow attendees, please silence all electronic devices. Thank you.
A rich and smooth blend of golden grain and single malt, with notes of vanilla, honey, and toasted wood. Anything else just wouldn't be proper. Proper number 12, Irish whiskey.
Please rise for the presentation of colors. The national anthems of the United States and Canada, sung by the voices of IFD.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please remain standing as we hear some of the final words from Father Michael Judge, delivered on September 10th, 2001.
Good morning, everyone. May the grace of God the Father, peace from God the Son, joy and fellowship from the Holy Spirit be with you all. We come to this house this morning to celebrate renewal, rejuvenation, new life. Come to thank God for the blessings of all the years that the good work has been done here, and especially the last few days. We can never thank God enough for the reality of the lives we have. So standing in His presence this morning, and truly this is a chapel, let us pause for a moment, perhaps close our eyes, and thank God for some special blessing in our individual lives. Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for life. Thank you for love. Thank you for goodness. Thank you for work. Thank you for family. Thank you for friends. Thank you for every gift. Because we know that every gift comes from you, and without you we have and are nothing. So as we celebrate this day in thanksgiving to you, keep our hearts and minds open. Let us enjoy each other's company, and most of all, let us be conscious of your presence in our lives, and in a special way in the lives of all those who have gone before us. And Father, we make our prayer as always, in Jesus' name, who lives with you forever and ever. That's the way it is. Good days, bad days. Up days, down days. Sad days, happy days. But never a boring day on this job. You do what God has called you to do. You show up, you put one foot in front of another, you get on the rig, and you go out, you do the job, which is a mystery and a surprise. You have no idea when you get on that rig, no matter how big the call, no matter how small, you have no idea what God's calling you to. But He needs you. He needs me. He needs all of us. The retirees, He needs your prayers. He needs your stopping by occasionally to give strength and support, to tell the story of the old days. You need the house. And those of you who are working now, keep going. Keep supporting each other. Be kind to each other. Love each other. Work together. And do what you did the other night and the weeks and the months and the years before. And from this house, God's blessings go forth in this community. It's fantastic. What great people. You love the job. We all do. What a blessing that is. A difficult job. And God calls you to it, and then He gives you a love for it so that a difficult job will be well done.
Everyone, please be seated.
We can't forget. We don't want to forget. It's a part of who we are. Those people who were there and who operated and who were part of the rebuilding and the resilience, we can't forget. Sometimes I wish we could, but we owe it to the memory of those that we lost to just ensure that their memories get perpetuated. The further we get away from this anniversary, the further we get away from those events, there's less and less of us who are here, who can tell the story, who can tell their stories of bravery.
Please welcome the president of the Clarion Fire and Rescue Group, Eric Schlett.
Good morning. It's truly an honor to stand before you today. For 26 years, I've had the privilege of leading the FDIC team and being part of this community, and I don't take my responsibilities lightly. What's been built here has been built by the learnings from all of you, by generations of firefighters, instructors, officers, and leaders who have shown up year after year with one shared purpose: to get better and to take that knowledge to serve your communities. That's what makes FDIC so special. So it's not an event, it's a commitment. And I want to be very clear about one thing. No matter how we grow, no matter how we evolve, what won't change while I have a breath is our commitment to serve those who serve. Everything we do here is grounded in training and education. You see it in the hands-on trainings where you're out there putting in the work, getting reps, and learning by doing. You see it in the classrooms where some of the best in the fire service are sharing real-world experience. You see it on the show floor where product education isn't just about what's new, but what will help you do your job safer and better. You see it across our media brands and books, capturing and sharing knowledge from this community. And now you see it in our online learning, fire engineering training, which brings FDIC training directly to you and your department members, wherever you are, helping firefighters and EMTs continue to learn, grow, and meet the credentialing needs of their department. Our commitment to you is much more than 1 week in Indianapolis. It's about creating a year-round platform to support you in the most important job there is. This year, our gathering is also especially meaningful as we approach the 25th anniversary of 9/11. That day forever changed our nation and forever shaped the fire service. Throughout this week, we remember those who gave everything, and we recommit ourselves to the values they represented: courage, sacrifice, and service to others. So to every firefighter, EMT, officer, instructor, exhibitor, and partner joining us this week, thank you for being here and for everything you do for your community. We are proud to stand with you. We're proud to host you and proud to welcome you to FDIC International. Now let me bring out our brand editors, Stephanie White, Chris McClune, Mike Brown, and David Rhodes.
Thank you, Eric.
Train hard, stay safe, and have a great week, and enjoy FDIC 2026.
25 years ago, the fire service didn't just lose 343 firefighters. We lost our illusion of invincibility. Before 9/11, there was an unspoken rule. You handled it. The bad calls, the images you couldn't unsee, and the weight that you carried home. Nightmares weren't discussed, and cancer was called bad luck, not an occupational consequence. Then 4 planes created a destruction we had never known, and the cost became undeniable. We watched firefighters spend months digging through ash and steel, carrying human remains, national grief, the stress of a sudden spotlight on a small town, and the kind of loss that no training manual could ever prepare anyone for. And the funerals didn't end the damage. What followed were years of PTSD, depression, addiction, broken support systems, and a loneliness that settled in when entire crews were gone. So the fire service changed. Peer support teams, behavioral health clinicians, suicide prevention training, cancer presumption laws, and the 9/11 health program emerged from that loss. The lessons we learned that day were brutal, but clear. The job doesn't end when the call does, and neither does the cost. Honoring the fallen means always protecting those standing beside us.
There were so many images from that day and the days that followed, whether it was the obliterated fire apparatus or words of support written in the dust on the rigs themselves. In all, close to 100 engines, ladders, rescues, ambulances, and support vehicles needed to be replaced. The fire service stepped up to the plate. Apparatus manufacturers and communities nationwide donated 141 vehicles, including engines, rescues, hazmat units, and utility vehicles. In addition to the apparatus, thousands of pieces of equipment had to be replaced. Over time, the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA expanded several grant programs to rebuild capabilities, fund equipment, and improve terrorism preparedness, not only in New York, Washington, D.C., and Virginia, but nationwide. We all came together to support our fellow departments and, of course, our country.
The country was wounded and thousands of innocent lives were lost. For EMS, that day changed everything. In New York City, EMS providers faced devastation without precedent: collapsed structures, compromised communications, and overwhelming human loss. Yet amid that chaos, FDNY EMS helped execute one of the largest civilian evacuations in history. More than 25,000 lives moved to safety under conditions no training scenario could fully replicate. At the Pentagon, responders confronted a different battlefield: a massive structural collapse, fire, debris, and hundreds of innocent victims inside the very symbol of our nation's defense. Military medics, EMS providers, firefighters, and law enforcement worked side by side in a unified response, establishing command, triaging the wounded, and treating traumatic injuries, burns, inhalation exposures, while operating in an environment defined by uncertainty, danger, and disbelief. 2 scenes, 2 different challenges, the same calling. When rescue turned to recovery, EMS did what it has always done: we adapted. But adaptation alone was not enough. September 11th demanded evolution. From that day forward, EMS transformed into systems built for all hazards response.
In response to these horrific terrorist attacks, FEMA activated and deployed 25 of its 28 national urban search and rescue task forces to New York City and the Pentagon. This represented the largest, most significant deployment in the history of USAR. The U.S. Forest Service deployed incident management teams along with dozens of federal agencies. Every available ferry and private boat on the Hudson River assisted in the evacuation. Countless fire departments, EMS agencies, private companies, and individuals provided support in the most unifying and patriotic time in our modern history. If you, a member of your family, or the organization that you represent participated in any capacity in the response and support efforts of Shanksville, the Pentagon, or the World Trade Center, do me a favor and please stand up. FDIC wants to thank you for your contributions and your patriotism.
The FDNY, the resiliency they showed after 9/11. I remember working on 9/12 and going to runs for fires, and we did our job. And to me, that's the proudest thing I have as a member of the FDNY, that the men and women of the FDNY on September 12th were down at Ground Zero, but also manning firehouses throughout the city and doing their jobs. And I think that speaks volumes of the type of people we are and have.
Remembrance and resilience. We're going to do a lot of remembering and honoring those who've sacrificed this week. I want to focus on resilience. It's not enough just to remember. Remembering should be used as motivation for us to take action, to move our organizations forward, to tackle the toughest issues we face, to not fear or retreat from conflict, and most importantly, to understand that strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others. I often hear discussions about what's the most important position on the fire department. Many point to the fire chief, which in the grand scheme of things, it seems logical, seems like the logical answer. After all, the fire chief's position is the highest rank. That person has the most responsibility, is supposed to define the mission and establish the goals and strategic direction. But logic is not always what you think. When I think of what's logical, I always remember the great Paul Harvey's retirement speech when he said, as cowboy Perk Carlson used to say, if life were logical, it's men who would ride side saddle. So if we're not so logical and we focus on how our organizations operate, we find the answer. An outsider wouldn't see it at first, but to those who've lived in the firehouses, moved up through the ranks, and in some cases, moved back down through the ranks, the answer couldn't be clearer. The most important group of individuals in any fire or EMS organization is the company officers. The lieutenants and captains who lead the small units into battle on the streets of their communities every day. And it's often that they do this not because of, but despite the organization's leadership. Our organizations were put in place to serve the communities, and that service is delivered from the engines, trucks, rescues, and med units every day. It's the company officer who has the face-to-face interaction with those both delivering and receiving the service. They see the grim realities of broken systems, handcuffing policies, knee-jerk reactions, yet somehow every day they navigate it all and still deliver the service. It's the company officer who fills the gaps with training, balances the policy and reality to try and meet the organizational expectations, the community's expectations, and their own moral conscience. They balance risk and reward, fully knowing that if anything happens, it's their split-second decisions with limited information that will be scrutinized by outside experts and their own organizational leadership. The company officers weather the storms of changing administrations. They survive the prioritization of new patches, new logos, new uniforms, and new mission statements. While some in leadership see these things as transformational, it's the company officer's unique connection and face-to-face interaction with the service providers and those being served that paint the clear picture of how trivial these things are in the grand scheme of our purpose. We talk about resilience. Look at 9/11. Many had to step up earlier in their careers than normal to ensure the services were able to be delivered. There were many children of those lost who followed in the footsteps of their parents. Several of them are with us today. Please stand as I recognize you. Battalion Chief Brendan Corrigan, son of Captain James Corrigan. Lieutenant Christopher Muscali, son of Lieutenant Joseph Muscali. Captain Frederick Ill, son of Captain Frederick Ill Jr., Battalion Chief Joe Downey and Deputy Chief Chuck Downey, sons of Deputy Chief Ray Downey, all supported by their Fire Chief Frank Esposito. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a seat. If you want to make your battalion great, if you want to make your department great, focus on the development of strong company officers. Give them the tools, the training, the education and experience to make them good decision makers. Invest in the development and spend less time in the never-ending battle of compliance. A few years back in my own department at a structure fire with reported entrapment, a lieutenant from a truck company joined up with the initial engine crew that consisted of a captain and a rookie firefighter getting ready to go in. He became the third person with that crew. This was at the request of the engine captain. Why? Because there was a report of a person trapped, and the lieutenant was the only other one ready to go. The three of them proceeded inside the structure. As the line advanced and began to hold back the fire, the lieutenant scanned the room to the left and saw the victim. He removed her. The fire intensified and began to wrap around the open floor plan, and the engine crew had to turn around and fight their way out. The battalion chief, seeing the change in conditions, called for a change to a defensive operation, not realizing that the engine crew was still inside. It was the actions of the lieutenant, not the battalion chief, that was scrutinized. The department determined that the lieutenant was freelancing and therefore filed charges on him, which were sustained by internal affairs. He was suspended for 2 days. The basis of the fire department's claim was that his two drivers, who were getting their air packs on and not with him, were not together. So despite the direct request of the engine captain, who was at the door with a hose line and who made the request over the radio for everyone to hear, the leadership determined it met the definition of freelancing. The lieutenant served his suspension but appealed through civil service process. During the hearing, the captain was asked about the incident, and he brilliantly explained the situation and his decision-making process. When the department representative got the opportunity to cross-examine him, she asked him, "Captain Ware, knowing what you know now, if you were placed in the same situation, would you have done things differently, or would your actions have been the same as the lieutenant's?" Without hesitation, he responded, "My actions would have been exactly the same, because that's what the city pays us to do, save lives." Her follow-up was, "But doesn't the city pay you to save lives within the policies and procedures of the department?" His answer was one of the most prophetic answers ever given by a company officer in a civil service hearing. He simply answered, "Sometimes." That lieutenant and captain are with us today. Both of them are chief officers with different departments now. Please stand up, Chief Dwyer and Chief Ware. I tell that story to emphasize the complexity, the real-time decision-making, and the dilemmas, the balancing act that company officers have to face on a daily basis. When their actions should have been commended, they were second-guessed and punished. We say, "So goes the first line, so goes the fire." We can also say, "So is the company officer, so is the crew." Being a company officer is a huge responsibility. You control the tone, the focus, the functionality, and the success or failure of your crew. Not the department, not the battalion, but your crew. We often hear the phrase, "How do you eat an elephant?" We all know the answer. One bite at a time. How do you create a great department? One company officer at a time. Setting the tone and expectations within the four walls you oversee creates others who will mimic your style and your traits. They'll mature and become officers in more stations. The cycle is never as fast as we want it because we're so impatient. We want to see instant results. But our investment in those members in the company is a force multiplier that in 10 to 20 years can transform an organization. It's not that chiefs aren't important. Setting the objectives and providing oversight, resources, and opportunity are critically important. The whole thing is a system, and every level has its own importance and function. But to paraphrase a line from Walter Whitman, self-importance has ruined more good chiefs than bad liquor. Company officers represent the past and the future at the same time. They know immediately if a policy is going to work or not. They know if a battalion chief has tactical competency. They detect these things with observation like, does the battalion chief give an assignment to vent the roof and then ask for an update 30 seconds later? They know whomever wrote the new accountability SOP hasn't responded or operated on a scene in years. It might be beautifully written and meet all the standards, but still totally impractical to perform in the early stages of an incident. While the company officer is the most important position, this does not mean that they're all good at what they do. People can memorize the textbooks to score high on a multiple choice test. They can BS their way through the same oral interview questions that you guys have been asking for the past 40 years. But once they are in place, serving in that most critical role, it just becomes a pay raise or a title, and they fail to rise to the occasion. So goes the first line, so goes the fire. Just as great company officer can change the trajectory of members in a good way, the bad ones can ruin their careers in the same way. One of the greatest traits of a good company officer is a genuine interest in the success of the individuals they influence. A self-test of your own true motivation occurs when a member who was once on your crew promotes to a higher rank than you. Are you pissed and jealous? Do you throw a pity party about how you were done wrong? Or are you proud that you played a part in that individual's success? So much about obtaining rank is timing. Setting your members up for success and then supporting them when they succeed reveals your true character and intentions. Some words of advice to anyone aspiring to be an officer. If you don't like people, don't promote. Because 90% of what you will need to do is develop relationships of trust to be able to lead whatever group you are assigned. To develop that trust, they'll have to know without a doubt that you have their best interest in mind with every decision that you make. If you're using them as a stepping stone, they'll sniff you out. If you do it right, at some point near or at the end of your career, there will be living proof. People will show up to tell you about your impact on them. They'll send a note. They'll show up to wish you off in style on your last day or at your retirement party. If you do it wrong, you'll just quietly finish the shift, leave the station. You, your spouse, and your best friend will gather, filling up a booth at the Waffle House in celebration of your distinguished career. Bad company officers are lazy. They stay in the office all day like hibernating bears. They only come out for a run, and when they do, they're usually slow and the last one on the rig. They come out to use the bathroom, and they come out to eat or ask, when's the meal going to be ready? There's no drills, there's no group discussions or tabletops. After a run, there's no after-action discussion. If you're a firefighter living that nightmare, you step up and become the informal leader. You do your own after action. You set up your own drills. You have your own discussions at the table. Don't imitate the bad officers and go your own separate ways, becoming a 24-hour cave dweller, scrolling social media all day and catching up on the latest episodes of Love Island. As we move away from 2 decades of risk-averse leadership that drained our best people's motivation to promote, we're now returning to a mission-first mindset of saving lives and serving others. It's bringing that motivation back. It's not acceptable to just exist in a position. We need you, the best of the best, to promote. Make it to that company officer level and focus on the development of the best crew in your organization. We need you current company officers to invest more time developing your crew. We need you chief officers to invest in your company officers. That is how you build resilience. The resilience after a major tragedy is often very apparent. But the resilience it takes to overcome the everyday struggle against complacency is just as hard and often overlooked. John Boyd, who gave us the OODA loop and insight into how we make time-critical decisions, also gave us this: people, ideas, and hardware in that order. Developing people who can become good decision makers is way more important and more impactful to the mission and the success of your organization than any apparatus spec, any new technology, or policy manual. As we move into this new era of artificial intelligence, don't forget the tried and true principles. People. The intellect, training, and mental agility of our people is the most important factor in conflict and organization. People are the ones who must adapt to changing circumstances. Ideas. Before acquiring technology, there must be a concept or strategy for how the hell we're going to use it. And hardware. Technology is merely a tool that should enhance the people, not replace them. It's not enough to say we will never forget. It's our responsibility to carry on, advance, question, and influence those around us. Always learning, always adapting. That is resilience. That is truly honoring those who sacrificed before us. The best time to develop today's company officers and chiefs was 25 years ago. Second best time is today.
I grew up around World War II vets, Vietnam vets. I didn't understand a lot because I was young. Then I got older and I learned more about it. And you know, when December 7th rolls around, I always think about Pearl Harbor and our military, even Veterans Day. And we are veterans of a different style, that's for sure. I'm not stepping on the military, but a lot of firefighters earn their stripes. And it's just not the FDNY. We had firefighters come from all around the country. And we have firefighters dying from all around the country from those effects too. So, you know, I hope we never forget what really happened that day and the people that were called to duty to do work.
The governor of the great state of Indiana, Mike Braun.
Good morning, everyone. I remember last year when I was here, impressed, I think the number is 38,000 firefighters coming into our great city. I think only Gen Con and Future Farmers of America exceed that number. So that's quite a testament to what you do, the training that you undergo and all of that. I ran a business for 37 years before I decided to run for U.S. Senate, and did that for 6 years and then came back to our great state. And when I look at, this idea of people, ideas, and hardware, I mean, that is the essence of what a successful business has to go through. If you don't have your strategy correct, if you don't equip it correctly, and in the case of running a business, you got competition to boot, you get good at what you do. I remember the day on that, I think Tuesday, 25 years ago, we had just moved out of a pretty hard scrabble start, a place that I never would have considered that's the way you start your business, and then see what happened on that day, 9/11. But I think back even further, and I think it mentioned it to whoever was here last year, is that when we moved back to our hometown, 2 hours south of here, my wife has had her only job as her business at 505 Main Street. Actually moved into an old building in '78. Well, I think it was a Sunday in 1990 where our accountant around the corner was actually working and noticed smoke coming out of the front of her building. Had he not been there that day, and had not our fire department reacted in literally 2 to 3 minutes, that whole building would have been gone. The fact that they got there quickly, it gutted the interior. In a place like where we live, the local contractors, along with mitigating the smoke damage, got us back in business in 6 weeks. It's a miracle, but if it had not been for that quick response, that would have been a much different day. So here in Indiana, we are doing things to hopefully make the job easier. The goal is, over the next few years, and we're already about halfway through it, is to have a training facility within an easy distance of any fire department. And if you haven't visited the one, a guy named Stu McMillan up in the northern part of their state put in, it's one of the finest training facilities in the country. And I think it's incumbent upon all states to make sure that they got proper training facilities that are not going to be a long distance to get to, if we can continue to do the job you need to do and do it with the right resources. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for coming here to our great city. Enjoy your time here. And again, don't ever underestimate how important it is to what you do. The example of what I gave you, and that's been over 30 years ago, to think what it did in my own case. And I thank you for that, and everybody that does this job day in and day out, putting your lives on the line. That means a lot. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
The mayor of the city of Indianapolis, Joe Hogsett.
Well, good morning and welcome to Indianapolis, back to Indianapolis. This is such a wonderful event every year for our city when you come to town. And some of you may think that I just don't ever go away. This is my 11th FDIC. And we just want you to keep coming back for more and more and more. It's always a pleasure to welcome you to Indianapolis and to celebrate with FDIC. Our city has had the distinct privilege of hosting you for this annual conference for nearly 3 decades now. And every year we are honored to welcome you all back, because we know that the importance of first responders simply cannot be overstated. Firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, such as yourself, are the heartbeat of communities all over the world. No matter how big, no matter how small. Because in times of hardship, you are the first to lend us a helping hand for what we need. You make sure that no one has to face tragedy or pain alone. And for that, the city of Indianapolis and communities that you all serve around the globe, we are tremendously grateful. So I hope this year's conference lends you the knowledge and the skills that you all need to continue the great work that you do. And during your stay here in Indianapolis, I hope you will all take some time to explore this great city of ours, recently named one of the best places to visit in 2026. And that's by Global Magazine. Indy has so much to offer its visitors, like so many of you. Our neighbors will welcome you with open arms wherever you go. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for being part of this great FDIC conference. I want to thank the FDIC organizers for your continued commitment to this great city that we call home, Indianapolis. I say it every year, I'm before you. And so many of you may think that this is my 11th conference and I'm kind of like a bad penny. You just can't get rid of me. But I say this every single year you come, and I do mean it, because I want you to enjoy this conference. I want you to let your hair down and have some fun. Behave, but let your hair down and have some fun. And as I say every year, while you are here, I would be committing mayoral malpractice if I did not say, spend lots of money.
The Chief of the Indianapolis Fire Department, Ernest Malone.
Well, good morning, and thank you all so much for being here. It's good to see you again. On behalf of the 1,324 men and women of the Indianapolis Fire Department, it is my pleasure to again welcome you to our city. We are honored to have you here, and we could not be prouder to host the annual Fire Department Instructors Conference. If we can be of service during your visit, please just ask, and we will find a way to make your stay enjoyable, educational, and rewarding. Indianapolis is an outstanding community with a world-class fire department that is internationally accredited, has an ISO 1 rating, and has served our city for over 166 years. Our department operates 44 stations from 7 strategically placed battalions. Please feel free to visit any of them and enjoy the hospitality of your fellow brothers and sisters. Be sure to stop by our fire museum located at Local 416's Union Hall on Friday afternoon. Have a chance to experience a little bit of our history, reconnect with some old friends, and I think you'll make some new ones. Our organization's mission is to save lives, protect property and the environment while serving this community with courage, commitment, and compassion. I want to take a moment to recognize the 295 firefighters currently on duty protecting us while we are here. We also have our new recruit class 91 with us. I want you to know from the onset we made something very clear to the recruits. IFD accepted your application, but our fire service will require your commitment. I continue to be inspired by our Indy firefighters and our civilian staff. They and their families will always have my unyielding support, and I ask you to give them a hand because they deserve it, folks. This conference has a storied legacy of leadership, innovation, and service, and IFD is deeply honored to have the opportunity to contribute to that ongoing legacy. Not only today, but every day that each of us is allowed to serve, I believe we should be filled with a sense of honor for those who came before us, a sense of pride for all of those who protect us today, and a profound hope for our service future. You know, over the past year, we've all had a lot to think about. In a time when too many people are quick to divide and blame others rather than look inward, our fire service continues to show what unity, trust, and service looks like. Our gathering here this morning is a testament to the belief in what is possible, an example of our fire service's incredible capacity to work together to create a better future for all of us. I remain ever mindful that throughout our fire service history, so many have given so much. The men and women who served before us have carried us on this journey of professionalism and service. My friends, this is the journey we continue today. For decades, firefighters have responded to thousands of calls for service each year, almost all of which never made headlines. They didn't end up liked or retweeted on social media. Most never got noticed at all, except by the person who received our help. And they received it in a moment that mattered most to them. In this profession, the call doesn't schedule itself at a convenient time. It doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care what you've already dealt with that day. It just comes. And when it comes, we go. As I have said before, the challenges and hazards we face in our service are real, they are serious, and they are many. But we are firefighters, and we don't do what's easy. We do what's necessary. The truth is, the people we serve will not remember our titles or our rank or what social media had to say about us. They will remember that we showed up. They will remember that someone came, that someone cared, that a firefighter helped them in their time of need. And you all do it because that's who you are. We will always meet the moment. I want you to be proud of that. I am honored to be the chief of an outstanding and progressive fire department such as IFD. And I believe that the manner in which our men and women perform their duties is second to none. And I am very proud to serve with them. And I'm proud to serve with you. Finally, I would just like to thank each of you, not just for what you show up and do every day, but for what I know you're willing to do. Thank you again for being here. As I always say, if you see me out and about during the week, please stop and say hello. I'd love to stop and get to know you a little better. Please be safe, have fun, enjoy the training, and thank you again, folks.
Please welcome back Chief David Rhodes.
In the days following September 11th, our nation searched for words to describe what we were feeling. Shaken, saddened, angered, and resolute. Those words still resonate today. In the wake of that tragedy, Robert Biachini, CEO of Penwell, then publisher of Fire Engineering, along with his son Toby Biachini, took purposeful action. Not only to remember the firefighters who made the ultimate sacrifice on September 11th, but to ensure their courage would be honored forever. That commitment led to the creation of the Fire Engineering Courage and Valor Foundation. At the heart of the foundation is the Ray Downey Courage and Valor Award. It was named in honor of Ray Downey, a 39-year veteran of the FDNY, a leader in rescue operations, and one of the most decorated firefighters in the department's history. Chief Downey was killed while commanding rescue efforts at the World Trade Center, doing exactly what he had trained generations of firefighters to do. From his first award in 2002 to Ray Downey himself, up until 2023, the Courage and Valor Award was presented annually at FDIC, recognizing firefighters whose actions exemplify extraordinary courage under the most demanding circumstances. For more than 2 decades, the award has reminded us that valor is not an idea, it's an action, carried out by ordinary firefighters in extraordinary moments. The award also carries a deeply personal connection. Chief Downey's sons, Joe and Chuck, both members of the FDNY, became actively involved with the foundation and the selection process, ensuring the standard for courage and valor remained rooted in the principles their father lived by: preparation, leadership, humility, and service to others. Please welcome Toby Biachini and Eric Schlett, and representing the Deputy Chief Ray Downey Scholarship Charity Fund, Joe and Chuck Downey.
Joe and Chuck, it's been an honor to serve with you. Thank you for all you've done on behalf of the Courage and Valor Foundation, and please accept this check for your dad's foundation. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, you're good. To keep the memory alive of our longtime FDIC and fire engineering contributor and the father of rescue, Ray Downey, I am announcing the creation of the FDIC Ray Downey Scholarship. FDIC will provide a true full-ride, all-inclusive package, travel and hotel scholarship for 2 individuals to attend FDIC each year starting in 2027. These individuals will be selected with the assistance of the Downeys. Look for details after the show.
The nights after 9/11 happened, that week, that first week, the names came down with the missing. I just couldn't get over the amount of pages that were in this thing. It just went on and on and on, and it was just hard to believe that that many firefighters were lost. For FDNY members, all you did for months on end was to work your shift, go to funerals, and work at the Trade Center. Those were like the 3 things you did in life. When you can't decide which friend's funeral to go to, that's a tough day. But you had no choice but to carry on. And we did as a city, we did as a fire department, and the fire department of New York is a special thing.
Please welcome the current president of ISFSI, Brian Zeitz, and the incoming president, Tony Carroll.
Good morning. ISFSI is proud to partner with Fire Engineering once again to honor the legendary instructor with the George D. Post Instructor of the Year Award. This year's recipient is Chief Brent Brooks. I ask you to turn your attention to the screens to learn more about this year's recipient.
Brent Brooks from High Rise Firefighting, and I'm back in Dubai looking at the world's tallest building again. Dubai is an amazing place to visit if you're researching or studying high-rise buildings, and I'm here to find out the perspective of their firefighters and compare them with my perspective or the North American perspective to find out a better way or solutions to fight fires in these massive structures. Brent Brooks from High Rise Firefighting. I'm in Santiago, Chile, researching best practices in high-rise firefighting.
Hey, it's Brent Brooks, and I'm excited about the next article in fire engineering. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. It's the first domino when it comes to high-rise operations.
Brent Brooks from High Rise Firefighting. I'm in São Paulo, Brazil, and I'm researching high-rise firefighting.
Hello, Jack Murphy here. I wish to congratulate Chief Brent Brooks on being named this year's award recipient of the International Society of Fire Service Instructors. Brent has dedicated himself to research and development and significantly improving high-rise operations worldwide. He unselfishly has devoted his time and efforts willingly at his own expense to train 100 fire departments in North America and globally. These training sessions would emphasize on high-rise operations to help reduce risk with these vertically challenging buildings. Brother Brent, I wish you continued success with your new position.
Hey Brent, congratulations on your award from FDIC as an Instructor of the Year. I understand you're in great company, and rightfully so.
Hey, Anthony Avillo here, just throwing a heartfelt congratulations out to my buddy Brent. You knocked it out of the park, brother. You know, you've shown us the way. This is like the gold medal of fire service training, the ISFSI Fire Engineering Award. Well, you might not have gotten it in hockey, but you did get it in training. Listen, if you want to go out there and learn from the most approachable, trusted, and humble guy out there in something that is a high-risk and low-frequency event, Chief Brooks is your man.
Jimmy Davis, what are you doing in the stairwell? What are you doing in the stairway? Well, Brent Brooks told me that every time I'm in a hotel, I gotta lock the stairwells, I gotta look at the standpipe, I gotta look at the PRVs and stuff. What are you doing here?
Now's a great time, since we're both together.
Yeah?
I would love to wish my brother, Brent Brooks, congratulations on the George Post Instructor of the Year. So why are we hanging out in stairways? Because we learned from the best from Brooksy.
That's what Brooksy taught us to do.
And Clark?
Yeah, and I tell you what, I can't think of anyone that is more deserving than Brent Brooks. He's taught tens of thousands of firefighters all over Canada, all over the United States, in Europe, in all these different locations. He absolutely deserves this award. Thank you, Brooks, from the bottom of our heart. We appreciate you.
Well, if anyone out there that knows me, you know I'm a numbers guy, and it is mathematically impossible to thank everyone that you've seen that has contributed to my success and my career. I want to thank my inner circle. I'm going to thank you publicly and personally for the rest of my career. I want to thank Mo, my biggest supporter, and I want to thank the late Bill Gustin, and I want to thank the late Paul Grimwood for supporting me in life and in death. And I think my inner circle will appreciate this. What I want to, and in the spirit of the award, I want to use the last 30 seconds to train. And this stopwatch is not for competition. This stopwatch is for our survival and their survival. We know exactly how long it takes for fire to grow. We know exactly how long it takes for smoke to spread. And we know exactly how long it takes for toxicity to kill an occupant. We also know that we know exactly how much water it takes to extinguish a fire. We also know that there's no such thing called water damage when it comes from a firefighting hose during extinguishment. I want to thank the Fredericton Fire Department and Chief Killingbeck for your support. I believe in you and you believe in me. And I also want to thank back to my inner circle. Look what you can accomplish in just 30 seconds. Thank you.
I was introduced to Andy Fredericks, and I'll never forget meeting him. I've never met somebody filled with so much passion for our job.
Well, Andy used to like to refer to Metal Day as Truck Appreciation Day, but he'd take it a little bit farther. He said, you know what they say, after the fire, truckies go to their typewriters to record their acts of heroism. Engine men go to the burn center for skin grafts.
One of the best things that I enjoyed doing at any of the trade shows, be it FDIC in Indianapolis or West, was to talk to some of the manufacturers of some of the combination nozzles. And the look of fright that would flash over their face at the mere utterance of his name, Andrew A. Fredericks, just completely floored me. And they would get flabbergasted and they would stutter.
Started to apply, what is it? Based on the this is a tough thing to say. Now that we have selected, what is it? You taught me a lot of what I know.
I think Hagar could do it better.
Yeah, get a straight or solid stream is not, okay, base at the fire. You were fighting that by the video. Saved my house. Yeah, we got enough bloopers, believe me.
One of Andy's qualities that I admired so much was his love and passion for the job and his willingness to share his knowledge with the rest of us. He was brilliant. If you ever read one of his articles or watched one of his videos, you know he put a tremendous amount of thought and research into it.
He just had this passion for engine company operations, and he wasn't driven by an ego or money. I mean, he just wanted to teach other firefighters what he had learned.
Andy was very unique in the fire service. He was interested in water supply, and he was interested in how much water you put on the fire. He was an outstanding student and an outstanding writer.
One thing about Andy, anything he taught had to be field proven. We would stretch lines, test nozzles, test different types of streams for hours on end. He'd have to calculate every different type of scenario, always figuring in the what if. People said he used to preach New York City. Andy didn't preach New York City. Andy preached what worked.
Andy's mission in the fire service was to make all of us safer. It was to put fires out quicker. It was for all of us to come home safe. We spent the last 3 years teaching together at FDIC Indianapolis, doing hands-on training for engine company operations. Saw Andy make a difference in firefighter training throughout the country.
Put engine company operations on the map.
I had learned early in my career, it's difficult to soar like an eagle when you work with a bunch of turkeys. So I managed to surround myself with eagles, and Andy was truly an eagle.
Andy reminds us all in the fire service to maintain our family and loved ones as the priority in our lives. I'd encourage you to remember Andy's thoughts and remember him as an instructor and leader of the fire service.
I still feel he is with us, and I know the things he taught are timeless, and he still has the ability to save many lives.
His work improved fireground operational efficiency and safety, and I have no doubt that those improvements saved the lives of civilians as well as firefighters, and they continue to do so, and that is Andy's legacy.
Once again, please welcome Chief David Rhodes and the daughter of Chief Tom Brennan, Ms. Eileen Brennan Kress.
Today, we honor a firefighter, instructor, innovator, and leader whose impact on the fire service far exceeded the years he was given. Andy Fredericks, recipient of the Tom Brennan Lifetime Achievement Award. A 21-year veteran of the fire service, Andy Fredericks served with FDNY Squad 18 and was among the courageous firefighters operating inside the World Trade Center, performing rescues when the towers collapsed. He gave his life in the line of duty, embodying the very essence of sacrifice and service. But Andy's legacy reaches far beyond that tragic day. He was a nationally respected educator and thought leader who's dedicated his career advancing the craft of firefighting. As an instructor at the Rockland County Fire Training Center, the New York State Academy of Fire Science, the Illinois Fire Service Institute, the New York State Association of Fire Chiefs, and an adjunct lecturer at John Jay College, he influenced countless firefighters across the country. His academic achievements, including degrees in political science, public safety, and a master's in fire protection management. It reflected his deep commitment to both intellectual and practical dimensions of the profession. Andy was co-author of FDNY's Engine Company Operations Manual and a member of the Editorial Advisory Board and FDIC Editorial Advisory Board. Through his writings, teachings, and training programs, including the landmark Bread and Butter Operations video series, he helped redefine how firefighters understand and execute engine company operations. His early article, Return of the Solid Stream, signaled the arrival of a powerful new voice, one that would quickly become a guiding force in modern fire attack strategy. His teachings emphasized that even in a modern fire service, success still depends on the skill, courage, and judgment of the firefighter on the nozzle. In his FDIC Keynote speech, "Don't worry about that nozzle, kid, because we don't do fires anymore," he said, "Firefighting today still remains largely a gritty, up-close, personal affair using tactics and techniques that date back decades. Even in the high-tech battlefield of today, it's the soldier with the rifle who still makes the difference in wartime." His legacy lives on in the knowledge he shared, the firefighters he trained, and the lives that continue to be saved because of his work. The last time I had a conversation with Andy was 25 years ago right here at the Hampton Inn bar where we all hung out as instructors. What did we talk about? Nozzles. It's with great respect and gratitude that we recognize Andy Fredericks with the Tom Brennan Lifetime Achievement Award. Accepting on his behalf is Andy's wife, Michelle, daughter, Haley, and son, Andrew.
On behalf of my children and myself, it is with great pride and honor that we accept this award. Andy spent a lot of time wanting to make an impact, and by the look at this room before me, I see he has. His only wish, he said to me once, is, "I just want to bring one of my brothers home safely." So please honor him and all get home safely, and hug your wife and children. Thank you.
We'll get a picture. We'll get a picture right here. Just kind of follow the curve.
If I could tell anybody about what to expect afterwards, is prepare your fire departments. From the smallest volunteer fire department to the largest paid department. You might not have the funds or resources to do everything, but if one department became specialized in trench rescue, one in rope, one in hazardous material, decon, these things could happen anywhere between dirty bombs, the lone wolf, the active shooter. Every day, we're the first ones out the door with the police and EMS. We're going to be the first ones there, and we're going to have to deal with whatever we get faced with.
When we decided this year's FDIC would pay tribute to the 25th remembrance of the heroic actions of our nation's firefighters on 9/11, we wanted someone to keynote who embodied turning tragedy into doing good. Someone with a personal connection that set the example for service. The first person that came to mind was Frank Siller. Frank has served as chairman and CEO of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation since its inception, honoring his younger brother, FDNY firefighter Stephen Siller, who gave his life on that day. A former entrepreneur with home building experience, Frank transformed personal tragedy into a mission serving America's heroes. For more than 2 decades, the foundation has provided mortgage-free homes to Gold Star and fallen first responder families. They're built specially adapted smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, and worked to eradicate veteran homelessness with zero government dollars. To date, the foundation has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in supporting those who defend our freedoms. Siller's service has earned him numerous honors, including FDNY Honorary Battalion Chief, the Department of Army Commander's Award for Public Service, and the Police Benevolent Association Person of the Year. It is my honor to welcome to the FDI stage a person who exemplifies service, resilience, and doing good, Mr. Frank Siller.
Thank you. I have to read on the teleprompter. My name is Frank Siller. I am in awe to be here today among so many heroes and their families, and those who are being honored in such a special way and recognized, and legacy family members that lost your dad on 9/11. And I know the stories because a lot of you have helped us in our reflections of 9/11 for our 9/11 Institute from the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. So it is an honor to be here. I feel very small amongst people who are willing to run into buildings and put their life on the line every single day. But I have a great, distinct honor to our foundation and honor my brother to be there when somebody pays the ultimate sacrifice for our country or for our community. 9:59 a.m. on September 11, 2001. Many lives changed. My brother Stephen, who worked at Squad 1 in Brooklyn, was just finished his night tour. He was on his way home to play golf at my brother George, my brother Russ, and myself. The 4 Siller brothers were going to play golf. We didn't get to do it too often because we had families. But we were going to play golf on September 11, 2001. He's on his way home for his night shift. He hears on his scanner, like so many of you guys have your scanners on all the time, that the North Tower was hit. He turns his truck around, goes back. He calls his wife on the way back to his firehouse, and he says, Sally, tell my brothers I'm going to try to catch up with them later, because everyone didn't know for sure when the first tower was hit what was happening. He goes back, he gets his gear, drives to the mouth of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. It's closed for security reasons. But what do these guys do? Every single one of them. How many were off duty or just finished their duty that found a way to get there that day? How many? It's incredible, the dedication and commitment and call to duty that you all have. It was closed for security reasons. He puts his gear on his back. He runs through the 1.7-mile tunnel up West Street, runs into a engine truck 224, grabs a hook off the back of the truck on the corner of Liberty and West Street, the last place he was seen alive, or at least somebody saw him alive there. And I believe he ran into the South Tower, because that's where Squad 1, many Squad 1 members were already there, and everyone would want to be with their company that they trained with. And going up those stairs, and that tower came down at 9:59 a.m. I lost my brother. I turned to my mother-in-law, who was sitting in my house at the time, because once again, we were going to play golf, so I had a couple of my brothers there. And my mother-in-law was sitting there, and I said, Nancy, I think I just lost my brother. Not knowing how he got there that day, not knowing any of this, what I just told you, but just knowing who he was. You must know a little bit something about Stephen to understand the loss that we have as a family, and every family had the same loss, that had that loss. When Stephen was born, November 15th, 1966, my father came to my classroom. I was in the 8th grade. I was 14 years old. And he came, he stuck his head in the door, and he called the teacher over. I thought I was in trouble again. And the teacher said, you know, Mr. Siller, your father's out there. I walk outside in the hallway. My father has a tear coming down his eyes, down his cheek. And I said, Dad, what's the matter? He said, you have a brother, Stephen. He came. He was so happy, he came to my classroom to tell me that I had a new brother. Now, I was the closest in age. Stephen was the youngest of 7. I was 14 years old. My oldest brother was 24 years old at the time, and we had 5 in between. So he was our little pet, no, our little brother. He was treated like we all held him. Who wouldn't hold him all the time? And we spoiled him rotten. And we couldn't believe this little miracle. My father was 49. My mother was 44. Now, today, having a baby at 44 is not that unusual. But back in the olden days, it was unusual. He was our gift from God. He was our little miracle. He was the core of our family. Stephen's 8.5 years old. My dad goes in for an operation. He has diabetes. He was going to have his at least one leg amputated. But he tries this new thing with the vein operation to put a vein in there from another part of the body. On the recovery, he had an embolism. He dies. Stephen's 8.5 years old. Our dad's gone. Stephen was crushed. I remember Stephen crying and saying to my mother, but Mom, you're going to be okay, right? You're going to be okay. You're not going to leave me, right, Mom? You're going to be here. You're going to be okay. And she says, yes, Stephen, of course I will be here for you. A year and a half later, my mom dies of cancer. Stephen's orphaned at 10 years old. At 10 years old. He doesn't know he's lost. He goes to live with my oldest brother, Russ, in Rockville Center. We're all from Staten Island. He goes, and my brother was teaching out in St. Agnes in Rockville Center. He goes and lives with my brother, Russ. I go out and visit him one day soon after, and all the siblings played a major part in his upbringing, a very major part in his upbringing. So he had like 3 extra fathers and 3 extra mothers, because it was... And I was out there walking him. I was walking him to a basketball court. We're going to play a little basketball, toughen him up a little bit. And I'm walking, and he's beside me, and each step I take, he's going further, back, away from me. I turn around, he's distraught. He's welling up. He had these big eyes, and he was welling up. I said, Stephen, what's the matter? And as soon as I said that, I said, how do you even ask that question, what's the matter? How do you ask that question? You know what's the matter. His father died when he was 8.5 years old. His mother just died a couple of months. He's orphaned. Yeah, he has older siblings, but he doesn't have his mother and father. I said, Stephen, what's the matter? He goes, Frankie, why did Mommy and Daddy have to die? Tears coming down his face. He says, why did Mommy and Daddy have to die? I said, I don't know why, Stephen. And he goes, I wish I was never born. I said, oh, God, Stephen, don't say that. Mommy and Daddy love you so much, they brought you into this world. And your brothers and sisters, we will always be there for you. We will never let you down. And I don't know why Mommy and Daddy had to die, but God put you on earth for a reason, and one day you will do something very special. 9:59 a.m. I start driving around different firehouses to try to find out where, what list, or Stephen was there, or whatever, trying to get information, and got none, because there was no information right away. Second building comes down. I go to my brother's place of business. Say, George, come on, you have to come to the house. This is not good. This is very bad. I call my sisters up. My brother Russ was already at my house. And we started gathering at my house. It's sitting around the TV in my living room, watching in despair. I get a call from a firefighter, Richie Obermeyer, who was down at Ground Zero. He says to me, Frank, I'm down here. I don't know where he called from. I'm down here, and I want to tell you, it's very bad. I said, I know, Richie. I'm watching on TV. I could see how it's terrible. It's terrible. I can't believe that you guys are down there. I feel so bad. He goes, no, Frank, it's really bad. I said, I know, Rich. I'm watching. It's terrible. He goes, no, Frank, you don't understand. Nobody's coming home. My heart dropped. I believed it at 9:59 when the building came down, but to hear from somebody else. I had to walk in the other room and tell my siblings the conversation I just had. My sister Gina let out a shriek that I'll never, ever forget. My daughter jumped in my wife's arms. She was in the 8th grade and home from school. We were on our knees, crying and praying. No, not Stephen, not that little boy whose dad died when he was 8.5 years old. Not that little boy who was orphaned by the time he was 10. No, not Stephen. Not Stephen, who's married and has 5 kids. Not Stephen. Those poor kids are not going to know what a man he was. He'll hear the stories, but they won't live it. But yes, Stephen. And when we heard what he did to get there, his older siblings, we decided that we were going to recognize and honor and make sure we never forget as a family. So we started a foundation. And at one point, we said, well, how are we going to fund this foundation? We decided that we were going to do a run through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel like Stephen did that day. And maybe some people will come and join us, whatever. We'll raise some money. And what we were going to do, we were going to do $1,000 scholarships to kids in the 8th grade going into high school that came from St. Agnes, where my brother taught and my brother Stephen went, Blessed Sacrament in Staten Island, and Sacred Heart in Staten Island once, because all 7 Siller kids went to Blessed Sacrament and my brother Stephen's kids went to Sacred Heart. $1,000. If you lost a parent, we're going to give you $1,000 a year for 4 years. That's what we were going to do. So we have the first run. We're able to raise some money, and we wanted these small acts of kindness. These small acts of kindness. I didn't know this then. I'm not that smart. I can't see into the future. All I know is we wanted to honor. And the first run we ever had, we had the names of every single firefighter who perished that day, the first year that we did the Tunnel to Towers run. Why? Because we knew that Stephen wasn't the only hero. He was my hero, but he wasn't the only hero. And we have the banners. If you ever come to New York the last Sunday in September, we have the banners. When you come out of that tunnel, we have the 343 banners of every firefighter that paid the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11, because our first promise is to never forget and to honor the sacrifice as a foundation. But soon after, we went to war, and we were losing so many guys. I went down to Walter Army Reed Medical Center. First quadruple amputee to ever survive any war was from Staten Island, where Stephen was born, where I was born, where 7 Sillers were born. I went down there to visit him. Sergeant Brendan Morocco, when I was down there, I said, not planning. I said, can we build you a home? He lost 4 limbs, above his elbows, above his knees. He's from Staten Island. Can we build you a home? And he humbly accepted it. I kept on going down to Walter Reed. I met 2 more quadruple amputees. I met 38 triple amputees. And on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, Commissioner Cassano was sitting right over here. He was with us down in St. George in Staten Island, not knowing what I was going to say, just like now. I said, we're going to build those 38 houses for those triple amputees. If we're building for quadruple, we need to build for the triple amputees, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And this year alone, this year, for the 25th anniversary, we're going to deliver 343 mortgage-free homes, and 100 of them, and 100 of them are going to be smart homes for these catastrophically injured service members and first responders. We've been doing many things over the years. We take care of, I promise to you, everybody here, the foundation is going nowhere. It's built to last forever because it's going to be needed forever. Soon thereafter, we made a promise for every first responder in America. Every first responder in America, you die in a line of duty. This is all for you. This is what I swear to the man upstairs the foundation will do forever. I swear, because it's built forever, that you go out there and you die, you give your life for your community, you leave a young family behind. I swear to you that we are going to make sure that your family's taken care of, and we're going to pay off your mortgage. Every single one. That's our promise to you. And we're not only going to pay off your mortgage, we just made an announcement now. Just very recently, in the name of my mom and dad, the May and George Siller Scholarship Program, we are now going to pay for your kids' college free. Every one of your kids, if you die, you give your life, we're going to make sure your kids have a house and they have an education. And that is our commitment to you. I was just recently on the phone. We lost 7 because, you know, we take care of Gold Star families as well, the same promise we made to them. I was just, you know, we lost 13 service members in the war in Iran so far, 13. You know, the two fueling planes that were fueling and they went down. So of the 13, 7 of them have young families. I had the honor to call all 7, 5 widows, 2 widowers. I called them, and I call them, and I tell them, and it's a very emotional phone call all the time, and I make hundreds a year, and it's very emotional, but it is an honor to make. And I told them that we're going to take care of you, we're going to pay off your mortgage and you could stay in your home. And I just talked to one of the widowers, Greg Pruitt. Greg's wife, Ashley, was one of the pilots that died and went down over the ocean. And he could hardly speak. And I said, Greg, what's the matter? Once again, like I said, what's the matter with Stephen? I know what's the matter. I said, but you could hardly, what's going on today? Because I've spoke to him several times. And this particular time, he couldn't even speak. I said, what's going on today? What is going on today? It's something I know is going. He goes, I just got my wife's personal belongings. And I don't have her phone. Her phone went down with her. And she has all the pictures. She has all the pictures. He's crying on the phone. He says, I don't have these pictures. This is what happens when this sacrifice is made. There's more to it. The ripple effect is crippling to our families that pay such a price. And that's why we have to be here together always to take care of these families and not just give them a mortgage-free home, or just not pay off for the education, but to be with them, to comfort them, to support them. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, because who better than fire departments to be with everybody? 25th year, I'll end with this. 25th year, one of the things we're doing, we took a piece of steel from the South Tower, one of the I-beams. We built this beautiful truck, and we're going to bring it all across America. Because you know what? How many people are forgetting? And remember, our first promise is to never forget. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation, we have a education program, K through 12. You can go to t2t.org. It tells a story. Many of you guys have told the story here. But we have this piece of steel going around, and we're going to have a little steps on that, the portable steps. You don't see it here in the pictures, but we have a portable step. And on that step, I want everybody to go up there. I want everybody to go up those steps. And I want them to put their hand on that piece of steel, and I want them to feel the sacrifice that was made on September 11th, 2001. I want them to know that so many heroes ran towards the fire and towards those buildings, and that their souls are in that steel. My brother's soul is in that steel. I want them to feel that when they put their hand on that steel, the sacrifice that was made that day. I want them to make sure that they don't forget, because we don't want it to happen again. That steel will go all over. And on September 11th, 2026, I'll be walking through that tunnel that my brother ran through with that piece of steel with my family. And we will walk up to ground zero. We're going to 10 house. We will kneel and pray where the names of 343 firefighters are etched in eternity in bronze. And we will kneel there and we'll pray for heroes like my brother and like all the firefighters here today. Thank you. God bless you. And of course, God bless America.
Great job. God bless you. That's good. I'll take it. Oh, yeah.
We all know the great good that Frank does with the Tunnel to Towers. The Courage and Valor Foundation is honored to present a check for $500,000.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I promise you we won't waste 5 cents of this. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right. Whew. What a show. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Enjoy the expanded classrooms, our new HIT sessions, our workshops, our hands-on training. Don't forget, the Fools Bash is tonight. The stadium experience will open tomorrow at 10 a.m. The stair climb is Friday. Please enjoy yourselves, network, share your experiences, and take what you learned back home to your departments. Thank you. And to reiterate what Frank just said, if everybody will join us. Bless